Are these AI audio tools actually shaping the way the world around us sounds? Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Johan, and today I want to dig into that exact important question. I went ahead and grabbed 4 of the most talked about AI audio tools available right now. Then I ran them through 4 very different voice recordings we captured. The goal was simple: to see how these tools behave on real-world messy audio recordings. We also needed to find out which one actually makes your voice sound the most natural. More importantly, we needed to figure out which tool is truly usable for creators who need to publish content quickly. As a quick rundown, I tested LALAI, the web vocal and video separation workflow tool. We also tested Adobe Enhance, which is the shiny one everyone talks about, also known as Adobe Podcast. Then there was Auphonic, the practical settings-driven web tool that offers a lot of control. Finally, we checked out SuperTone Clear, which is the DAW plugin formerly known as Goyo. Each one of these solutions approaches audio cleanup in a distinctly different way. Naturally, each tool has its own unique set of strengths and surprising weirdnesses we need to examine. Beyond just the cleanup, I also want to show you the crucial step I take after processing the audio. This is how I turn this entire long comparison into bite-sized content that actually performs well on social platforms. That specific part of the workflow is where the tool known as Vizard comes into play for me. I will show you exactly why pairing a good audio tool with a smart clipper and scheduler is the real secret sauce for modern creators. So let's start with the raw inputs, the recordings. I intentionally picked 4 very different scenarios to ensure we wouldn't get fooled by one lucky perfect clip. Recording A was a normal day-to-day pass captured with my phone right next to a busy city street. That meant we had lots of traffic hiss and real-world ambient noise to contend with. Recording B was a very reverberant take that had a painfully long decay, which is the classic room with a tail problem everyone hates. Recording C was a total facepalm moment where I neglected to point the microphone directly at my mouth. This resulted in a very low voice signal competing with a loud recording environment. Recording D was the absolute audio train wreck in the entire batch. It was garbled, featured a weird cadence, and had significant surrounding noise. This final take is probably the one the AI models will misinterpret the most severely. Okay, let's dive into the results, starting with LALAI first. Their interface is quite straightforward and visually pleasing with its drag and drop file functionality. The tool successfully provides you with separated stems like voice, instruments, and pure noise. You can then easily mute or solo these stems for detailed inspection of the separation quality. A significant annoyance for free users is that you cannot always download the processed files after separation. This limitation is frustrating when you are trying to batch process multiple files for comparison. On the actual street recording, LALAI did an okay job muting the distracting background layers. The main vocal track sounded more present afterward, but it occasionally came across as a bit synthetic. The clip that featured heavy reverb was where LALAI really started to struggle in our tests. It barely managed to remove the long, lingering tail of the reverb present in the recording. This happens because LALAI is also heavily optimized for music separation tasks. As a result, it sometimes treats vocal reverbs like if they were part of the musical bed underneath. It's useful for quick demos or for separating vocals layered over music tracks. However, it is certainly not the best tool available for deep, intricate reverb extraction work. Next up, we move on to the famous Adobe Enhance, also known as Adobe Podcast. This one truly lives up to its reputation as the set-it-and-forget-it audio experience. It features an incredibly friendly user interface and an easy sign-in process using your Google account. You control the intensity of the processing entirely using a single, simple slider control. Free users are typically limited to 1 hour of processing time per day, which is a strict cap. Paid tiers, of course, loosen that daily usage limit for heavy users. My main impression is that Adobe is insanely good at making a voice sound clean and loud incredibly fast. But there is a very noticeable trade-off associated with that speed and simplicity. If you dare to crank that slider all the way up to 100%, your voice starts sounding a little too polished and digitally produced. On that messy recording where the mic was misaligned, Adobe sometimes warps the voice timbre significantly. This warping can make it hardly sound like me, especially when I want to retain my natural accent. I found a sweet spot that works well for most situations, usually sitting around 70% to 90% strength. At that level, it removes most background noise while successfully keeping the original personality of the speaker intact. For everyday creators who need clean, consistent podcast audio or quick uploads, Adobe is a fantastic ergonomic choice. However, if you need to preserve totally natural texture, you must watch that processing slider very carefully. Auphonic presents a completely different vibe compared to the simplicity of Adobe. It asks you upfront what specific algorithm you want to apply to your audio file. You can select options like a dedicated speech-focused processor or a music-safe mode for layered tracks. It also offers granular controls like removing breaths or automatically cutting out common filler words. The free plan's upload limits can feel quite restrictive when you are testing many files. Despite that, this tool felt by far the most configurable right inside the browser. For the specific highway noise recording, Auphonic actually delivered the most intelligible output. My voice came through the background traffic in a way that sounded very natural and not overly processed at all. Exports on the free tier are capped at a specific bitrate, which is worth noting. However, for many creators publishing online, that 128 kbps MP3 is still perfectly usable for their needs. Auphonic's greatest strength is that it is specifically engineered for spoken word clarity above all else. This makes it an excellent tool when absolute speech intelligibility is your #1 priority for the final product. Finally, let's look at SuperTone Clear, which is a plugin designed to run inside your digital audio workstation. This is not just a simple web toy, it's a proper professional audio processing tool. It gives you a lot more knobs and sliders to control, and honestly, that's the entire design point of the plugin. On the Noisy Street file, SuperTone cleaned up the signal really impressively well. The real standout performance, however, was evident on the heavily reverbed recording. SuperTone can be meticulously dialed in to actively fight long reverb tails without completely flattening the room ambiance. In some truly wild cases, it even accentuated the natural room sound to make things feel more cinematic. For the I pointed the mic completely wrong disaster file, SuperTone was brilliant. It boosted the vocal presence dramatically and made the audio highly intelligible in a way the others simply couldn't match. The only real downside to this power is that it's a bit heavier to use in a workflow. You absolutely need a Dabo environment to take advantage of its full capabilities. This setup is not ideal for those who just want a simple one-click web solution for every task. So where are we landing after comparing all these features and results? Let's quickly sum up the key takeaways from my extensive testing session. LALAI excels at separating vocals from music and is great for quick creative demos. However, it proved weaker than others when dealing with the removal of long decay reverb issues. The download friction on its free tier is also a definite hurdle for batch workers. Adobe Enhance is unbelievably user-friendly and exceptionally fast for processing entire files. The major caution here is that it can seriously overprocess your voice if you are not careful with the slider. Auphonic remains the practical and highly configurable web option, offering excellent results for pure spoken word intelligibility. Its only real pain point for testers is the restrictive free export limits you must work within. SuperTone Clear stands out as the dedicated restoration monster for anyone already working inside a professional DAW. It is the tool to reach for when you need expert-level cleanup on difficult source material. Now, here's the crucial part that almost everyone skips in their post-production process. You just spent time achieving the cleanest possible audio from one of these tools, resulting in a long comparison video. The next challenge is turning that long-form video into performing bite-sized content that actually reaches an audience. That is precisely the stage where the tool known as Vizard completely changed my workflow on this project. I simply uploaded the entire long review video file into Vizard's platform. In just a matter of minutes, the AI suggested several ready-to-go viral-ready clips for me to review. These suggestions included quick before and after comparisons that clearly showed the audio improvement. It also offered a short showdown video comparing only Adobe versus Auphonic's results. Another great highlight was a short clip demonstrating SuperTone fixing that disaster take we recorded earlier. Crucially, Vizard trimmed all these clips automatically to platform-friendly lengths for TikTok or Reels. Instead of manually scrubbing through hours of footage, Vizard auto-selected the moments with the highest potential engagement. It then generated these short-form, ready-to-post videos for immediate deployment across my channels. This automation process saved me hours of tedious manual clipping and re-exporting for every single platform. Why does this matter so much for creators today? Because publishing consistently across every platform is genuinely half the battle for building sustainable reach online. You could have the cleanest audio in existence, but if your output schedule is unreliable, you simply will not grow your audience. Vizard's integrated scheduling feature solves this consistency problem entirely. I can set exactly how often I want new content to go live across my accounts. The system then deploys those clips automatically, meaning no more late nights spent exporting and uploading manually. The content calendar view is the ultimate organizational bonus for any busy creator. From that single screen, I can see every scheduled clip and even edit titles or update thumbnails. It allows for cross-platform scheduling, meaning a post can go to YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram all at once. This capability completely turns the tedious post-production grind into a predictable, repeatable content pipeline. While the audio tools fix the sound quality, Vizard is the engine that makes the content work in our modern attention economy. For a practical workflow, I recommend using SuperTone or Auphonic for critical clips first. Then feed that cleaned master video directly into Vizard to handle all the slicing and distribution work automatically. One more important practical point for creators on a budget. Some browser tools impose download limits on free accounts. Vizard's main strength here is efficiently slicing and distributing that cleaned master file without further quality loss. To conclude with a few final honest comparisons, do not expect one tool to be the undisputed best at every single task. Adobe is undeniably the easiest tool to pick up and use right away for beginners. However, it is often not the most natural sounding option when you compare it side by side with others. LALAI is genuinely fun for creative separation work where you want stems for remixing. But we saw it perform poorly when trying to tackle difficult, long decay reverb problems in our audio tests. Auphonic provided the best overall balance between usability and achieving high speech intelligibility for podcast-style content. If you are an audio engineer or you routinely work in echoey boardrooms, SuperTone in your DAW is the go-to restoration powerhouse. And Vizard, it functions as the vital distribution engine that connects your audio effort to actual audience growth. It is the missing link that turns hard work into multiple pieces of performing content. So the ultimate question remains, which solution should you choose for your channel starting today? If you are a weekend podcaster or a creator who simply wants minimal fuss and setup, start simple. For that group, I recommend using either Adobe or Auphonic for initial cleanup. Make sure you then immediately pair that output with Vizard for the crucial clipping and scheduling automation. If you are a serious audio nerd or you frequently record interviews in large, echoey rooms, you need more power. For that advanced user, the choice is SuperTone for restoration, followed by Vizard for efficient editing and posting. If your primary creative need is quick vocal and music track separation for remixes or mashups, give LALAI a try. However, even if you use LALAI, you must pass those final stems through an intelligibility-focused tool before publishing. The absolute bottom line is this: these audio AIs are getting amazing, but they do not replace a smart publishing workflow. The winning equation for repeatable creator growth is clean audio plus smart clipper or automatic scheduling. I personally utilize Vizard to turn this entire testing session into dozens of short posts without micromanaging every single upload. That level of productivity is the exact hack every busy creator needs to implement right now. If you enjoyed this deep dive comparison, please let me know in the comments section. Tell me specifically which one of the 4 audio tools surprised you the most during this entire test. Also, if there's enough demand, I will make a follow-up video right away. That follow-up will show the exact Vizard workflow, from initial file upload to the final scheduled post in the calendar. One final piece of practical advice for anyone testing audio tools: always pair the best sounding result you get with a smart clipper like Vizard. Doing this pairing will save you many hours and actually get your content in front of the people who matter. Thank you very much for watching this comprehensive analysis today. If you enjoyed this, please hit that subscribe button. I will see you all in the next video.